Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome to our meetup, Common Ground Project, where humanists, atheists, and religious believers have been getting together on a regular basis for almost more than 2.5 years right now. We're trying to find ways not only to find common ground, but in order to act together in the world that desperately needs our concerted efforts. Why are we here? Why is it a big deal for atheists, for humanists, for religious believers, Christians, Muslims, whoever? Why is it a big deal that we're together here? What's the value in coming together?
I really came here to learn. I'm not religious, so this is interesting to me. We're in a group that I am shocked I'm actually a part of because I don't join anything. And it accidentally came here, and you guys are so intelligent, and that's why I feel like I'm always learning something from somebody.
Yeah, I wanted to learn also. I think that what we tend to do is just talk to people who mimic us in some ways and who agree with us, and that it's a good thing to get out of that and to talk to people who have different views.
Whether you believe or not believe or anywhere in between, the one thing that really unites us is a common experience of the world, and our actions, whatever it is that we choose to do, affects other people. Mm-hmm. And by dividing ourselves into believers and not believers, putting up more walls, we're not really accomplishing anything but just adding more discontent to everyone's experience of the world. So the reason why I think this is really important is to possibly break some of those barriers and concentrate on the things that we can accomplish, on the good things that we can share in this world.
Mm-hmm. Even though we're very different in many ways, that our differences actually can be something, as Renee says, something we can learn from.
We're all searching for the answer to the question, how should I live my life? And of course, whether you're a religious person or a not religious person, I'm probably speaking from more of a Buddhist perspective here than anything else, is that the quality of your own life depends largely on the actions that you produce that affect other people's lives, And that's whether you're religious or not. Socrates, back in 2,500 years ago, posed this question: what is the good life? How should we live our lives? And I think we're still searching for an answer, and this forum gives us an opportunity to discuss these things.
Mm-hmm. And what's the meaning of our lives? And why are we here to begin with? What's the point of it all? And I think that both religious and non-religious people are trying to deal with that, and how to be a good person and how to make an impact on the world in a positive way. I was raised a Catholic and went to Catholic school, etc. It's the whole concept of Jesus as being and following Jesus as dealing with social justice issues. So that's coming from my perspective of dealing, with the world in that context. Like, how can we make the world a more just place for everyone?
Sometimes I think that the only thing the thing that is common is that we might just all be trying to get through the day. Mm-hmm. And we all love somebody, we all have family, and we all want the best for that. Mm-hmm. So that, to me, is the most fundamental common thing we have. And then all the other stuff is labels and limiting people in the box of that label. If we remember when we hate somebody or somebody makes us angry, we're really all just getting through the same day, in the present moment. Not tomorrow. We're all doing the same thing, in a sense. We're just different personalities. Mm-hmm. And we have different beliefs. Yes. And I'm okay with everyone's beliefs.
We're all looking for a fulfilled, happy life, family in our circle of friends and our loved ones, and so on and so forth. We all share those things too. And more in our diverse communities, we share them in common. We're all, it's not just religious folks are in this neighborhood and non-religious folks are somewhere else. So we're all in this mix together. What does it mean that religious and non-religious people are all together. If we share things in common, what does that mean? Where does that take us? Do we have a responsibility to one another? I think anywhere we have an opportunity to build bridges across the divide is an extraordinarily important opportunity.
I would sort of broaden your term just a little bit, rather than just the human beings, sentient beings, because I think we should include in the equation like our little friends, like the one right here, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so, you know, we all know what suffering is. From a Buddhist perspective, this is really about analyzing suffering. You know, this is all about, so there's a concept called the Four Noble Truths, you know, which is suffering, the origination, cessation, and the path to cessation of suffering. Where by realizing the the suffering of others, by examining your own suffering, you come to a point where these things, where acting accordance with a certain ethical framework just becomes a lot natural.
I think in this exchange between religious and non-religious, one of the things that's happening to me is my mind is changing dramatically about the folks I thought I understood but never talked to. And from a religious perspective, you can say, well, you know, well, they're like this or they're like that, and especially if you have folks who are kind of anti-religious. But then I found that warm, extraordinarily gifted people atheist friends, humanist friends, extraordinarily brave, courageous people in their lives who risk a lot, because being atheist in the United States is not easy. Where do you think this may go in your life, with your family, with your colleagues at work, with the folks that you may gather around? How do we encourage more meaningful connections between religious and non-religious people? How can we encourage these circles of dialogue wherever we're at?
I think that we need to behave what we say, or we're not going to be credible, and no one's going to believe us. People can sniff out insincerity, so you can't just talk it. We have to kind of really have that behavior, and at the times when it's needed most, when you really want to judge somebody, you got to back up and not judge them.
One of the gaps that I saw in my own life was that I don't know any Muslims. So reaching out to the Muslim community, and so I'm going to be part of this group of women called the Daughters of Abraham, which it consists of Christians, Jews, and Muslim women. Once you start knowing people, you know, your biases and feelings toward them will change.
Yeah.
It's a reminder of all the differences around us, our opportunities to bridge, religious or non-religious.
It's really how we conduct everyday affairs in our life. That speaks louder than words. You know, that's what gets people's attention. So whether you're a Catholic, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're atheist, if you act out of deeply ingrained ethics in your life, people will take note. And then the conversation can begin from there.
Projections show that while religion still figures prominently in the world, the number of those with no religious affiliation is growing. The Catholic Church has a fundamental concern to reach out to peoples of all faiths and those with no religious connection at all. Pope Paul VI, in his first encyclical, states that the Church should not, quote, isolate itself from dealings with secular society. St. Pope John Paul II sought to foster encounters with non-believers when he says, placing people in a relationship with one another and uniting them in their common humanity. Pope Benedict XVI established meetings with believers and non-believers in more than 16 international gatherings called the Courtyard of the Gentiles, echoing the ancient Jewish tradition of welcoming non-Jews for dialogue at the veranda of the temple. Pope Francis has stated, and I quote, "As believers, we also feel close to those who do not consider themselves part of any religious tradition. We consider them as precious allies in the commitment to defending human dignity, in building peaceful coexistence and in protecting creation. The work of the Zavarian missionaries, in our dialogue and collaboration with our atheist and humanist friends in the United States and the United Kingdom, is inspired by this tradition.